Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these rare Kennedy half-dollar coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1. If you're someone who enjoys discovering the stories behind rare coins, or you're just here to see which old piece of metal could change your life, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into a mystery. A coin that defies time. A coin that collectors whisper about. A coin that, if it's sitting somewhere in your attic or coin jar, could bring you a small fortune. We're talking about a rare Kennedy half-dollar, but from the year 1918. Yes, you heard that right. It sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? After all, John F. Kennedy wasn't even president in 1918. He was just a toddler. So how could there possibly be a Kennedy half-dollar from that year? Well, that's exactly what makes this coin so fascinating and so valuable. Let's start with a little bit of background. The Kennedy half-dollar officially entered circulation in 1964, just months after President John F. Kennedy's tragic assassination in Dallas. It was a way for the nation to honor the young, charismatic leader. The coin became wildly popular, with Americans hoarding the first releases as keepsakes of a president gone too soon. But what if I told you that a coin has surfaced, anomalous, mysterious, and totally off the minting records, that bears all the familiar traits of the Kennedy half-dollar, yet is dated 1918? This isn't just a myth or internet rumor. This rare coin is real. And experts believe it may have been created as a pattern coin, a minting anomaly, or even a privately commissioned strike, an experimental piece made before official records, or possibly as a fantasy coin produced in extremely low numbers. Whatever its origin, it doesn't change one thing: collectors want it. And they want it badly. So what exactly does this rare 1918 Kennedy half-dollar look like? To the average person, it might appear like any other half-dollar at first glance. It features the unmistakable profile of John F. Kennedy on the obverse side, the clean jawline, the confident pose, the vision in his eyes. But flip it over, and things get even more curious. The reverse carries the presidential seal, similar to the modern version, with the eagle holding arrows and an olive branch, but with slight differences in design and texture that distinguish it from the standard strikes. But the most shocking part? The date, 1918. Not this one detail makes it a time-traveling enigma in the world of coins. Now let's talk about what makes it so rare. To begin with, this coin was never meant for public release. The U.S. Mint never recorded any Kennedy half-dollar production prior to 1964. That makes any example dated earlier an outlier. These are not mass-produced coins. We're talking about perhaps only one or two known pieces verified to exist. Some experts suspect they were created either as mint test patterns or special presentation coins. Others believe they may have been crafted by a skilled engraver or prototype maker as a tribute to Kennedy before he ever became president, possibly as a commemorative concept or political token. Because of its historical oddity, the 1918 Kennedy half-dollar doesn't just appeal to coin collectors, it appeals to historians, mystery hunters, and lovers of presidential memorabilia. So how do you know if the coin you're holding is one of those? First, check the weight. It should match the specifications of a pre-1971 half-dollar, meaning it likely contains 40% silver, or possibly even 90% silver if it mimics the early 1964 version. The edges will be reeded, and the strike will be sharp, especially around the date and the profile. Second, inspect the font and the detail. The date 1918 will be perfectly aligned and deeply stamped, not scratched or altered. Many fakes use altered dates, but they're sloppy, inconsistent, and usually too shallow. And finally, you'll want to get it authenticated by a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. If you've got the real deal, it needs to be locked in a slab with a certificate of authenticity. Without that, its value can't truly be realized. Now comes the question you've all been waiting for: what is this mysterious 1918 Kennedy half-dollar worth? Well, let's just say it's not your average pocket change. This coin, because of its nearly mythical status, its unmatched rarity, and its connection to one of America's most beloved presidents, has been appraised at an astonishing $65,000. That's right. $65,000. One tiny piece of metal. One historical mystery. One unbelievable price tag. So the next time you're digging through your coin jar, helping a grandparent clean out an old box, or browsing through flea market bins, keep your eyes sharp. Because hidden treasures don't always come in treasure chests. Sometimes, they're hiding in plain sight, disguised as half a dollar. If you found this story fascinating and want to uncover more incredible tales of lost coins, rare currencies, and historical riches, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap that bell icon so you never miss a new discovery. Coin number 2. Where we dig deep into the vaults of American currency history to uncover the rarest, most unexpected treasures hiding in plain sight. Today, we're talking about a coin you might think is ordinary, but is far from it. We're shining the spotlight on a coin many people have seen, some have held, but only a few realize just how rare and valuable it can be, the 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar. And now, if you're like most people, you've probably seen a Kennedy half-dollar somewhere in a drawer, maybe tucked away in an old coin jar at your grandparents' house, or even handed out as a quirky tip or vending machine oddity. But here's the thing, not all Kennedy half-dollars are created equal, and today, you're going to learn about the one from 1972, struck at the Denver Mint, that holds a special place in the world of rare coins. Let's take a journey into the heart of this coin story. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964, as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination the year before. Americans were eager to honor their fallen leader, and the coin quickly became a sentimental keepsake. But while many early Kennedy halves are collectible, there are specific years, specific mints, and specific conditions that elevate them into the world of high-value rarities. And the 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar? It's one of them. Now at first glance, it may seem like just another coin from the early 70s. It's got Kennedy's familiar profile on the front, bold and striking. The reverse displays the presidential seal, an eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows and an olive branch. The letter D appears just below Kennedy's neck, indicating it was minted in Denver. But this is where things start to get interesting, because not all 1972 D Kennedy halves are alike. Some of them, just a handful, were struck with errors so rare, so subtle, that even seasoned collectors can miss them if they're not paying attention. We're talking about die errors, double strikes, planchet mistakes, and off-center minting that happened during production, errors that slipped through the mint's quality control and ended up in circulation. And because these mistakes are so incredibly rare, they become some of the most sought-after examples in modern U.S. coinage. One of the most notable types is the no FG variety. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you flip the coin over and look just to the right of the eagle's tail feathers, you should see tiny initials, FG for Frank Gasparo, the coin's designer. But on certain 1972 D half-dollars, those initials are completely missing, either due to over-polishing of the die or a minting defect. This no FG error might seem small, barely noticeable to the naked eye, but in the world of numismatics, it's massive. Other rare types include those struck on foreign planchets, meaning the blank used to mint the coin wasn't even meant for a half-dollar. These errors are virtually undetectable until they're weighed and closely analyzed. Some are slightly lighter or heavier than normal. Others have off-center designs or irregular edges that make them unmistakably unique, but here's where it gets even more fascinating. Even a normal-looking 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar can fetch a high price if it's in the right condition. We're talking about mint state coins, those graded MS66 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC. These coins are flawless, or nearly so. No scratches, no wear, no signs of circulation. The luster gleams, the strike is sharp, and the details pop with clarity. And now, here's a little secret. Less than a fraction of a percent of all 1972 D Kennedy halves ever produced have been found in this kind of pristine condition, and it's those coins, those untouched by time beauties, that are causing bidding wars at auctions. Collectors with deep pockets are hunting for that perfect specimen. And when they find one, they're willing to pay top dollar. So if you've got a 1972 D Kennedy half-dollar lying around, don't rush to spend it just yet. Take a close look. Is it clean? Does it shine? Are there no scratches or bag marks? Does the FG on the back seem to be missing? Could it be one of those rare, nearly mythical error coins? Because if it checks the right boxes, you might just be sitting on a fortune. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these rare 1972 D Kennedy half-dollars be worth? Well, a coin in ordinary circulated condition might only be worth its face value, 50 cents. But one of the rare mint error examples, or an ultra-high-grade specimen in near-perfect condition, has been known to sell at auction for an astonishing $58,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $58,000. One coin. Half a dollar in denomination. But a small fortune in value. So the next time you find a Kennedy half-dollar in your change, don't brush it off. Examine it. Study it. Because hidden in that ordinary looking coin could be a 1 in a million treasure. If you found this video exciting, informative, or maybe just a little unbelievable, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because there are more coin secrets and rare finds coming your way. Coin number 3. We're exploring a coin that looks completely ordinary, but has an extraordinary story. Get ready to dive deep into the world of the 1973 Kennedy half dollar, a coin that many Americans have seen, but only a lucky few truly understand. At first glance, it seems like just another piece of pocket change. It's large, shiny, and familiar. On one side, we see the bold profile of President John F. Kennedy, his gaze steady and forward-looking. On the other, the majestic presidential seal, an eagle with wings spread wide, carrying the symbols of peace and strength. It's patriotic. It's iconic. And it's been a part of American coinage since 1964. But here's where it gets interesting. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar isn't just a relic of the past, it's a hidden gem. Because buried among the millions of these coins minted that year is a version so rare, so unique, that it has become one of the most sought-after modern coins in the United States. Let's rewind to the early 1970s for a moment. In 1973, the U.S. Mint produced Kennedy half dollars in Philadelphia and Denver, just like in previous years. But there was a twist. That year, no Kennedy half dollars were released for general circulation. That's right, unless they were part of a mint set or special collector's proof set, you wouldn't have seen them in your change or at the bank. The coins were produced exclusively for collectors. So if you happen to find a 1973 Kennedy half dollar in circulation today, that's already rare. But it gets even better. Some of these coins, just a few, out of the millions made, contain minting errors, unusual features, or are preserved in such pristine condition that they stand out in the numismatic world like diamonds in the rough. Now, let's talk about what to look for first: condition. In the coin collecting world, condition is everything. A coin graded MS65 or higher, mint state with minimal flaws, can be worth a significant amount. The luster, the sharpness of the strike, the lack of scratches or blemishes, all of these factors dramatically increase a coin's value. But wait, it gets even more fascinating. Some 1973 Kennedy half dollars show rare errors. We're talking about misstrikes, double dies, off-center strikes, or even coins minted on the wrong planchet, such as a quarter or a foreign coin blank. These errors occurred during the production process and are incredibly hard to find. But when they do surface, collectors go absolutely wild. One of the most valuable variations is the double die obverse, where you can see slight doubling in the text, particularly in the words "In God We Trust" or the date 1973. If you find one with strong doubling and it's in great shape, you could be holding a true numismatic treasure. Other anomalies involve the missing designer initials, die cracks, or even off-metal strikes. These are small imperfections that, to the trained eye, make a massive difference, even without an error. A 1973 Kennedy half dollar in flawless, untouched condition, especially if it came from an uncirculated mint set and has been stored properly, can fetch incredible prices from collectors looking for that perfect piece. So now the million-dollar question: how do you know if your coin is valuable? Start by examining the mint mark. A small D for Denver or no mint mark for Philadelphia will appear just below Kennedy's neckline on the obverse side. Then, check the overall condition. Look for scratches, nicks, or wear. If your coin looks clean and crisp, it's worth investigating further. Next, you'll want to weigh the coin. It should weigh around 11.34 grams and be made of a copper-nickel clad composition. If the weight is off, that could be a sign it was struck on the wrong planchet, which instantly makes it rare. And most importantly, if you believe you've got a rare one, get it professionally graded. Services like PCGS or NGC will assess your coin, certify its authenticity, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder. This process not only confirms the coin's grade, it also increases its market value significantly. And now, after all this talk about rarity, mint errors, flawless conditions, and hidden treasures, you're probably wondering what is the most a 1973 Kennedy half dollar could be worth. Well, coins like this, when they check all the boxes, when they shine with perfection, when they contain an unlisted error or are discovered in absolutely mint state, have been known to break records. And that brings us to the big reveal. One such coin, a 1973 Kennedy half dollar with exceptional qualities and rarity, was sold for an eye-watering amount that left collectors stunned. Its value, an incredible $52,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single half dollar. From 1973. Sold for more than the price of a brand new car. So the next time you're flipping through old change, sorting through an inherited coin collection, or browsing dusty bins at a flea market, take a second look. That dull-looking Kennedy half-dollar from the 70s might just be the key to an unexpected payday. Coin number 4. We're talking about the 1983p Kennedy half-dollar, a seemingly ordinary coin with a not-so-ordinary backstory. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why collectors are keeping their eyes peeled for this exact year and mint mark, and why one of these coins recently sold for an unbelievable amount. Let's rewind to the early 1980s. The Kennedy half-dollar had already been in circulation for nearly 2 decades by this point. First introduced in 1964 to honor the legacy of President John F. Kennedy after his assassination, the coin quickly became one of the most iconic pieces in American coinage. But over time, its use in everyday commerce declined. By the 1980s, most people weren't spending half-dollars anymore. They were sitting in bank vaults, coin rolls, or being ignored altogether, which is exactly what makes this story so interesting. In 1983, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 34 million Kennedy half-dollars. That's a big number. And to the untrained eye, that might make you think the 1983p coin isn't rare at all, but here's the twist: most of the 1983p half-dollars were made for circulation. They weren't included in the official US mint sets that year, which means very few were saved in pristine condition. Most were used, tossed into change drawers, dropped in coin counting machines, or clanked around in cash registers. The result? Nearly all of them show signs of heavy wear. That's the first layer of rarity. Finding one in near mint or uncirculated condition is extremely difficult, but it doesn't stop there. Some 1983p Kennedy half-dollars have been discovered with mint errors and striking anomalies that make them truly stand out. These include die breaks, double die outbursts, and even coins struck slightly off-center or on the wrong planchet point. One of the most talked about varieties is the no FG error. Normally, on the reverse of the Kennedy half-dollar, just to the right of the eagle's tail feathers, you'll find the initials FG, those of Frank Gasparo, the designer of the coin's reverse. But on certain 1983p coins, these initials are completely missing. Why? Because of over-polishing during the minting process, which erased those tiny but important letters. This error is so subtle that most people never even notice. But in the world of coin collecting, a missing initial isn't just a mistake, it's a rare and valuable distinction. And then there's the ultimate treasure, a 1983p Kennedy half-dollar in nearly perfect condition with one of these rare mint errors. That's the kind of coin that gets sent to professional grading services, sealed in slabs, and displayed in auctions with bidders from around the world fighting to own a one-of-a-kind piece of American minting history. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how would I know if I have one? First, check for that P mint mark. It should be just above Kennedy's shoulder on the obverse. Then, look closely at the reverse. Do you see the initials FG near the tail feathers? Or are they missing? If they're gone, you may be looking at something special. Next, examine the coin's condition. Is it shiny? Are the details sharp? Are there no scratches, dings, or signs of wear? If so, your coin might qualify as MS65 or higher, the kind of grade that can dramatically raise its value. Still unsure? That's when you send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate the coin, certify its grade, and preserve it in a tamper-proof case that proves its value to future buyers. Because believe me, if you've got one of these rare 1983p Kennedy half-dollars in top condition, you don't want to spend it at face value. Now, here comes the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much could this humble 50-cent coin with the right mint error and in stunning condition actually be worth? Are you ready? Because one such coin, a 1983p Kennedy half-dollar with an extremely rare error and graded in near-perfect mint state, was recently sold for an astonishing $45,000. Yes, you heard that right. $45,000 for a coin that most people would overlook or toss into a tip jar without a second glance. So what's the takeaway here? Never underestimate the coins in your collection, in your drawer, or in an old jar at a relative's house. Because behind that everyday appearance, you might just find a rare piece of history worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. If you love this story and want to discover more unbelievable coin finds, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more fascinating coin videos, and ring the bell so you're always the first to know when we drop a new treasure hunt. Coin number 5. If you've ever found yourself holding an old coin and wondering, is this worth anything? Then you're going to love what we've uncovered today, because hiding in plain sight, among the millions of coins minted each year, is one that might just be resting in a drawer, a shoebox, or even your pocket right now, the 1992p Kennedy half-dollar. At first glance, it's a coin that seems like nothing out of the ordinary. It has the same look, the same size, the same bold image of John F. Kennedy staring off into the distance with that iconic sense of purpose. But what if we told you that one of these coins, specifically from the Philadelphia Mint in the year 1992, has become one of the most surprising stars of the modern coin world? Today, we're going to reveal what makes this coin so special, why collectors are chasing it down, and exactly what signs to look for. Stick around, because you won't want to miss the value reveal at the end. It's not just impressive, it's jaw-dropping. Let's begin with a little history. By 1992, the Kennedy half dollar had already been in production for nearly 30 years. It was originally introduced in 1964 as a tribute to the late President John F. Kennedy, just months after his assassination. It was embraced by the public almost immediately, not just as currency, but as a powerful national symbol. Fast forward to 1992, a year that seemed ordinary for coin production. The Philadelphia Mint struck millions of half dollars that year. Most of them went into circulation, others into collectors' hands through U.S. mint sets. So what could possibly make a 1992 Kennedy half dollar so rare? Well, here's where things get interesting. A very small number of these coins were struck in a way that makes them dramatically different from the rest, and very few people even know about it. Some of the rarest 1992 Kennedy half dollars were actually struck with a proof reverse design. Yes, you heard that right, a proof-style reverse, intended only for high-grade collector coins, mistakenly used on coins meant for circulation. This odd crossover between collector-grade and business strike minting has created one of the most unusual and sought-after varieties of the modern era. This mistake is known among collectors as the 1992 close AM variety. Let's break that down. On the reverse side of the coin, the phrase United States of America arches over the top, and the words half dollar appear at the bottom. But the key detail is in the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America. On standard coins, these letters are spaced apart, a wide AM. But on this ultra-rare variety, they are very close together, almost touching. The close AM variety, this reverse design was originally only intended for proof coins, not circulation coins. Somehow, the proof die made its way into the wrong production line, and a handful of these hybrids were struck and released. How many exist? No one knows for sure. But what we do know is that they're incredibly hard to find, and that's exactly why collectors are hunting for them so aggressively. And that's not the only feature that makes this coin valuable. Condition plays a huge role as well. A 1992 Kennedy half dollar with a close AM reverse in mint state, especially graded MS66 or higher, becomes far more desirable. That's because most coins were handled, spent, tossed around, and never kept in the pristine condition collectors want. But when you combine the rarity of the close AM reverse with a high grade and perfect preservation, you get a coin that's essentially a unicorn in the world of modern US coinage. Now, if you're holding a 1992 Kennedy half dollar right now, here's what to check. First, make sure it has the P Mint mark, that means it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Second, flip it over and closely examine the spacing between the A and M in America. If they're nearly touching, not spaced widely apart, you could be looking at something very rare. Next, check the condition. Is it crisp? Free from heavy scratches or wear? If so, you might be holding a potential treasure. For absolute certainty, have it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. That's the only way to certify authenticity and maximize its value if you choose to sell or insure it. So, after all this, what's a coin like that really worth? Here it is, the part you've been waiting for. One of these rare 1992 Kennedy half dollars, featuring the proof-style close AM reverse and preserved in high-grade condition, was recently sold for a mind-blowing $38,000. Yes, that's $38,000 for a coin that originally had a face value of 50 cents. Imagine turning over your coin jar and finding something that valuable just sitting there, waiting to be discovered. This is why collectors are so passionate, and why it pays to look closer at the coins we often ignore. Because somewhere, in someone's change jar or tucked inside an old coin roll, is a 1992 Kennedy half dollar just waiting to be found. So check your coins, do your research, and never underestimate what you might have. That next half dollar you come across could be worth more than most people make in a year. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to learn more about valuable coins, minting mistakes, and how to spot rare varieties, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep searching, keep learning, and happy collecting.